The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
I need you to knock some sense into me. I'm sure you can.
Yeah, I don't know.
I enjoy listening to you. I don't always agree with everything.
All right, enough of this persiflage.
So, you want my question?
I'm certainly not going to get myself in trouble by telling you what to do.
That makes great sense. Gosh, that's good.
Did I overwhelm you with words and wisdom?
I've got 7 kids. I feel like I could call you every day.
What? Wait, you're telling me I'm wrong? Disconnect.
Yes, I am, Dr. Ray.
You just need to tune in to Dr. Ray, honey. He's got all the answers.
Am I right or am I right?
Probably.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
Very nice to have you with me. By the way, persiflage it basically means badinage. So I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you. Thank you, Matt, for the Kit Kats. I don't need them. I went Halloweening. I trick-or-treating, and I got plenty of Kit Kats. But that's okay. Leave them there. Thank you, sir. That's what it means. It means playful banter is what it is. Sometimes I use big words. I'll confess. I don't know the meaning of. Just so I can sound more photosynthesis. Good to have you with me here on The Doctor Is In. We had my producer man, Andrew Kruchek, has a sick young man, so he's at home taking care of business. Manning the boards, Eric Dumont and Dan McGraw call screaming. So you will not hear Eric's mellifluous voice unless calls come pouring in. Anonymous, don't go away. I know you're there, but I have to do my badinage at the top of the program. The number to get onto the program is 877-573-7825. Let's make it easier. 877-57-EQUAL. Question? I was going to blend question and situation. Would it be quituation? Question, situation, circumstances about folks in your life, circumstances in your life, frustrations in your life, or good news in your life. I don't get too many people calling me and saying, hey, Dr. Ray, just wanted to call you, tell you everything's going great. So I'll talk to you later. Not exactly. That said, sometimes you have good insights. Well, who am I to say sometimes you have good insights? Sometimes people call with good insights about circumstances that can help other people. And we get calls from folks who say, I'd like to piggyback upon that call because that happened to me. And I'll tell you how I handled it because, Dr. A, I don't think you really gave decent enough advice. I hate when my wife calls in like that. We gotta start screening her call. So the number, 877-57-EQUAL. Now, here is what I am told by the folks at Catholic University of America. We are taping 4 episodes of the television show Living Right with Dr. Ray. Now, we were just in Ann Arbor, and a fabulous, fun time because they put out an audience that was huge and feisty and boisterous, absolute rambunctious audience. They were tremendous, and we had great, great guests. We had Father Joe Krupp, Dave Vacherez, Sister John Dominic, Marcus Peter. They all made the show. So we had a lot of good times. Now, we don't normally shoot the TV shows this close back to back, but we had to because of scheduling purposes. So, next week, November 11th and 12th, we will be at the Catholic University of America inside Father O'Connell Hall. They're setting up for the program, and we're making a final push to get heavy audience there. We've got a decent-sized audience right now, but boy, I sure would like it to be bigger. Catholic University of America is very much wanting to establish themselves as a very premier, faith-filled Catholic university. We want to help them do that, and the audience will help that. So WMET, our Guadalupe affiliate in D.C., is doing a lot to promote this, and the university is telling us they are flat out, what'd they say? They are making the big push this last week. Go to drray.com. That's my website. At the very top, as soon as you kick into my website, it will take you over a link to signing up at the Catholic University of America's website, which has my sneaky way to get you on my website. That will be the easiest way to do it. You can sign up for the 5:30 show, the 7:15 show, both nights, 11th and 12th. Sign up for all of them if you want. Doesn't matter to me. I'd love it. Bring the kids. Sometimes we use kids in the audience, and I love when the kids are there because kids add an element of unpredictability. So, hope to see you. I'll push this tomorrow. Speaking of Kit Kats that are sitting right here in front of me, I have gone trick-or-treating, rarely missed a year, since I was about 7 years old. Now, back then, if you didn't stay home on trick-or-treat, you were taking your house into your own dangerous hands because you're going to get soaped. That's the way it was. You had to be home on trick-or-treat night. And in those days, you could go 3 nights. We did. There was Beggar's Night. There was Halloween night. Sometimes you could go afterwards. Not so much anymore. They've really kind of crushed trick-or-treating. But I still go. I go with friends who have younger children, and I keep finding younger friends. They're getting harder and harder to do. I'm going to have to start dropping down to friends with the grandkids. We go into neighborhoods, and believe it or not, I trick-or-treat. My wife says, "Why do you do this, Ray? You could buy the candy." That's not the point. And I've wrestled with, why do I get such a kick out of trick-or-treating? I went as Batman. Wanted to go as Superman, but yeah, you know, when you got a rocker, it just doesn't look good. So, given that, it's the challenge. It is. You go to different places, and they have a wide variety of candies to choose from. And you pick the ones you really, really like. You know, the Kit Kats and the M&M's peanuts. Every once in a while, you get a Caramello. Ooh, that's top elite stuff. When I was a kid, everybody gave out full-size candy bars. The full-size candy bars were probably a dime now. Now, full-size candy bar, I think, is $84, something like that. So there, for some years, they went to what they called the fun size. They're not fun size, they're small. But that's terrible, because now they give out midgies. These things are the size of your thumbnail. And then they say, take one. What? No. I could put up on my Facebook page my take this Halloween, and it's impressive. It's truly impressive what I brought in. Why is this? Well, one, I like candy, but I got to watch. Can't just eat crazy. I like candy. Boy, the calls are just roaring in, so ask you folks, please be patient. I will definitely get to all of you. But two, I realized it's a remnant. When I was a kid, we didn't get much candy. My dad worked in a factory. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. We didn't routinely buy candy. Trick-or-treat was when you could build up your stash pretty much for the next 3 months. I remember one trick-or-treat, I would say I got, if I remember the numbers correct, something like 50 or 60 full-size candy bars. Not to mention all the other smaller stuff. Every once in a while, somebody gave out some kind of hard candy, and that was like, you just didn't go to that house anymore. But there were certain houses you knew would come out with a big tray of huge selection of full-size candy bars. And they'd say, take 2. So what we did is we'd go behind the house, change costumes, come back out. And I said, pretty much, hey, we could probably just stay here for 5 or 10 different visits. Now, there's certain strategies that you have to take into account to be a professional trick-or-treater. One is the neighborhood. You can go to wealthier neighborhoods, but the houses are farther apart. You are more likely to get a full-size candy bar with the more wealthy domiciles. However, if you go to closer together houses, you're not as likely to get full-size. But you can get to the doors faster. Now, the best houses are the ones that have the people at the end of the driveway. You don't have to go all the way up to the door. And for sure, when I go up to the door, I go up with the kids I'm trick-or-treating with. You can't stand by the street like most parents do. Amateurs, rookies, you're not going to get anything. Nobody's going to yell down to you and say, hey, did you want a candy bar? No, you got to go up to the door. And you got to have certain lines that I've mastered over the years. For example, I'd say something like, well, I'm really a 12-year-old girl going as an aging psychologist. I had one lady say to me, you used that line last year. Would you leave it up to the women to remember exactly? Who's more likely to give you the candy? The guys. That's just a reality. That's a Halloween reality. The guys, if you look at that and you go, man, I love Nestle's Crunch. Well, here, take a couple. Here, take a couple. That's all you got to say sometimes. I just love. Or that's my favorite. That's a big one. That's easy to do. That's my favorite. Well, go ahead. Here, help yourself. End of the driveway. And the ones that are really cool are the ones where they have a little sign. Take one, please, because nobody's home. So they just put the bowl out there. And you can do that because you don't have to worry about people looking at you like, what are you doing trick-or-treating? Aren't you a little bit old for this? Now, my wife pretty much stays as far away from me as possible. She's usually about 3 houses behind. She wants no indication that she's associated with me whatsoever. And then the best part, you go back to the house, you dump it out on the table, and you trade. You trade. I can't believe kids who like Almond Joys. I just don't believe that, but sometimes they do. And the only time I'll take an Almond Joy is if they drop it in my, well, you don't carry a bag. You can't do that. So what I do is I just go up to the door with my hands in my pocket, or I stand there and I look hungry. I'm really good at that. And given that, I go back down to the street and I hand them to my wife, and then she puts them in a bag and she carries the bag. So these are some of the skills I've learned over the years, and people say, you still do that? I go, yeah, because it's fun. I have a good time with the people. And the challenge of getting a full-size candy bar. That's huge. I had about 15 or 16 this year. Now, I know they're not good for me, and they're sitting in a plastic bag at the bottom of our pantry. But it's kind of neat, pulling the bag out, putting it on the island there, and just sorting through it and go, I think I'd have one of those today. I pretty much am a professional trick-or-treater. Pretty proud of it. Wow, a lot of calls up there. Please be patient. I will be delighted to talk to each and every one of you. This is Dr. Ray.
In her diary, St. Faustina wrote, "If only I had a spiritual director from the beginning, I would not have wasted so many of God's graces. If even the saints needed spiritual guidance, how much more do we?" The nonprofit Revive app lets you meet virtually with certified spiritual companions, scheduling sessions at your convenience, helping you grow closer to Christ. Your first 2 sessions are free. Download the Revive app today. That's REVIV, and then the number 3.
Do you own popular index mutual funds or ETFs? If so, you're automatically own shares of companies that conflict with your moral beliefs. Ave Maria mutual funds are managed to conform to pro-life and pro-family values. Long-term investors can invest in the no-load Ave Maria mutual funds. The experienced professional portfolio managers make decisions based on investment fundamentals and pro-life values. You can learn more about Ave Maria mutual funds today at 866-AVE-MARIA or visit AveMariaFunds.com.
Life's uncertainties can arise without warning, and without a clear legal plan, your wishes may go unfulfilled. Through our partnership with MyCatholicWill.com/AVE, you can designate guardians for your children and allocate your assets to the individuals and causes you hold dear. Create your will at no cost from the privacy of your home. This Thanksgiving, take time to prioritize your family's peace of mind. MyCatholicWill.com/AVE.
This program brought to you in part by Ave Maria, Florida, a big kind of small town where golf carts take you everywhere and there's always something fun around the corner. Discover championship golf, resort-style amenities, and a town center full of shopping and dining. With Ave Maria University and Ave Maria Catholic Church at its heart, it's a community full of connection and charm. More than 25 model homes are available for viewing. More information can be found at AveMaria.com. That's AveMaria.com.
Begging your forbearance. Patiently waiting for me to get to your call and talk with you, and I want to do that with everybody up there. Unfortunately, what happens is people do drop. I think it's because they're in the car and they get to where they're going. Or they say, I've got 12 minutes I'm going to give this guy, and if he doesn't get to me in 12 minutes, I'm gone. Let's go to an anonymous. I'm articulate and stuff. An anonymous female from New York. A young female, it seems, because they just had their first baby. Hi, Mom.
Hi. Can you hear me?
I got you clear.
Okay. So I called in like 2 weeks ago and my connection was terrible, so I want to try this again.
Wait. You don't call a psychologist and say our connection is terrible. You can say maybe we don't hear each other clearly, but I'm professional and I know how to connect with people emotionally.
I'm sorry. Didn't mean to offend.
I'm going to let that slide. Don't let it happen again. Yes, dear. Sorry to interrupt you.
So I'll try to be more succinct than last time as well. So basically, I haven't seen my parents in a very long time. My husband and them and I had somewhat of a falling out due to a huge misunderstanding prior to our wedding. They didn't come to our wedding. We had a baby about 2 months ago, and they're coming to meet the baby in around 2 to 3 weeks. And my husband and I are just nervous about how it's going to go because they're coming to our house, and we haven't seen them in a very long time.
What's very long?
The last time I saw them in person was last year in the fall when my aunt died at her funeral.
Is this a relationship with your mom and dad that's always been kind of shaky for a long time?
It didn't always feel that way. It felt like we were close earlier on, but I think we did have some chinks in the armor, so to speak. I think there were attempts made to keep things closer than they otherwise would have when problems got exposed during this falling out. That kind of, I think, were kept, they were just swept under the rug.
Well, I like your insight because most people say, oh, we were so close. We were just very, very close. And I think, well, if you were that close, why did they decide not to talk to you for a year? What could you have done so awful? So, thank you. Thank you for seeing that.
Yeah.
Man, it has to be a pretty big misunderstanding for them to say, I'm not going to come to my kid's wedding. Oh,
yeah.
You don't have
basically, I can summarize real quick. So, my at the time fiance and sister had a misunderstanding, and basically I said that I didn't want my sister to be the maid of honor in my wedding.
Okay.
And but I apologized the next day after my mom said that wasn't a good idea. But then about a month later, they called me and said they don't support us getting married anymore, even though I'd apologized. We've had holidays together again. But looking back, I think that they didn't like your
fiance. They didn't like your fiance for what he did. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So they just decided, as long as you marry that guy, we're not sure how much we want to have to do with you, which is a very interesting way to look at this. They're coming to your house because they want to see the grandkid. All right. Grandkid's more important than putting up with your hubby, or maybe even putting up with you, Mom. So they want to see the grandkid. Focus on the grandkid. If they bring up the past, say, Mom, Dad, we both apologized about that. I hope you accept it and let it go. Well, we don't understand why you wouldn't just have her. That is your sister. Admit it. Mom, we just apologized. You want to hold a baby? Don't get into it with them. Don't do it. I would let them just focus on that little one because they're going to be all proud for that little grandchild, especially if you're the first grandkid. Oh, man.
Yeah, I am the first.
All right, that's big. That's huge. And somehow they've decided, either one or both decided it would be good for us to, in fact, are you going to take Sherry out of there? Oh, I knew you were going to do that because that's where I was going to go next. All right. It would be good for us, in fact, to try to mend the fences. I was going to split the analogy. Mend the bridges to see this kid. So I think that's what you're dealing with. You got to avoid them bringing back up the past. Say, Mom, let's let that one go. It's something we disagreed on. We apologized. Can we move forward so you can be part of this baby's life? That's what I would do.
I can do that.
All right, hon. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye now. Now, see, here was Sherry's. She said, I go to Rosary before Mass. She's getting frustrated and resentful with the lady who leads it because she's always racing on to the next decade before Sherry finishes the current one. We had Father Joe Krupp at the TV show. Some of you in the Ann Arbor area, in the Grand Blanc area, the Saginaw area, you know Father Joe. And he's funny. And he talked about the rosary races. He said, you got some people who lead a rosary, and they sound like an auctioneer. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Well, maybe that's happening with Sherry here, but it's frustrating Sherry. So she's gone to this lady and said, hey, come on, man, slow it down so I can stay with you. But the lady keeps doing it. So Sherry says, what do I do here? Well, Sherry, there's a certain irony to praying the rosary but being mad at the person who's leading it. You know, you say, Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners. Maybe not for the lady who's leading the rosary. Now at the hour of our death, amen. I would say just pick up your pace to stay with her. She's leading it. It's her style. Okay. You don't want to get upset over stuff, especially stuff that is a beautiful devotional. So I wish you would have stayed here so we could have teased and talked about that. Let's see where we're going now. Anonymous female who is okay. Did you put that there, Dan, that she's okay? Or no, she's from Oklahoma. Okay. Anonymous female from Oklahoma. Hi, anonymous female.
Hello. Yes, I'm okay too, so that's fine.
Atta girl.
My husband is taking care of his father. We live 5 hours away from him, so not physically taking care of him, but he's we're looking at a potential dementia diagnosis. So my husband is having to take him.
Uh-oh, you went away. No, I can't hear you at all. Did you do something with your phone?
Well, now I hear you talking, but you're turning up something else.
Uh-oh.
Oh, now can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Okay, so your husband is trying to...
listening to your archives.
Oh, your husband's trying to manage his elderly father, but he's 5 hours away. How often does he go?
We can't go often. We have, 6 kids here, and he works full time, so maybe 2 or 3 times a year. So he's trying to manage his finances from afar, getting his will in order, all these things.
Okay.
But he's thinking he may have dementia. So he's forgetful. People are calling him, and he's giving away his credit card number.
Oh.
And it's getting more and more overwhelming. And it's giving my husband a lot of anxiety. He's having trouble concentrating here at home and, remembering just our own family things. And I guess I'm wondering if you have advice on how to not let this...
Okay, my dear, I'm going to hold on. I got to take a hard break. You check your phone and see kind of what's going on with it because you just faded out again. I hope you can hear me. This is Dr. Ray. The number is 877-57-EQUAL to get you onto the phone. We have lines open now. Dan McGraw waiting to talk to you.
60 on 10 with Monsignor Charles Pope.
The fifth commandment, you shall not kill. At the heart of this commandment is an absolute insistence on the sacredness of human life. We read in Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse 5, "Before I ever formed you in the womb, I knew you, says the Lord." So every human life is sacred because it's caught up in the mind and the heart and the will and the love of God. And no matter how we're conceived or any circumstances, God has always known and loved every human person. And for this reason, we are to hold sacred every human life. We are, therefore, to never murder, never kill, never seek vengeance. Of course, we have issues of abortion and euthanasia today, and we have so many ways where we in some way disrespect the lives of other human persons, and even our own life. We have to learn to respect it as a great gift from God. The fifth commandment, you shall not kill.
For more about the 10 Commandments, visit EWTNRC.com.
What constitutes hope? The Catholic Catechism tells us when God fully reveals himself and calls man, man cannot respond on his own. He must hope that God will give him the capacity to love and respond and act in conformity with the commandment of charity. Hope confidently expects divine blessing and the beatific vision of God while fearing to offend him and incur punishment. Despair is a sin against hope, because when a man despairs, he ceases to hope for his eternal salvation, which denies God's goodness, justice, and mercy. The sin of presumption, on the other hand, assumes God will give you forgiveness without conversion and glory without merit, or presumes that man can win his salvation with no supernatural assistance. This is Peggy Stanton, and this has been the Order of Malta's Minute with the Catechism.
Every time I hear that particular bumper music, I feel like one of those guys that narrate the intros to these old movies. And coming up now is Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall in the classic all-time favorite. Talking to Anonymous from Oklahoma. Her husband is kind of finding out that his dad cognitively could be slipping. He's trying to take care of Dad's bills. He's trying to maintain Dad, but he's 5 hours away. He's got 6 kids, and he works full-time. And his sense of helplessness and probably his sense of sadness that his dad is cognitively slipping is playing upon him, and it's affecting his functioning at home. You still there, Anonymous?
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh, very good. Yes, we got you good. I think...
Okay. Yeah, that's a good synopsis of it.
Your husband recognizes that... Well, let me change directions here. I'm assuming his mother does not live with his dad anymore.
No, his mom died about 3 years ago from cancer, so that's kind of when all this started.
Yes. Is there no other siblings in the area where Dad is?
There's a sibling that lives in town with his dad, but she has nothing to do with him.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right. Is it possible for your husband to orchestrate some partial in-home care?
We're waiting on VA assistance. They applied for more money from the VA, which they think he'll get more money. There's a lot of financial problems. Like, if he continues on the track he's on, he's going to run out of money in about a year. So, there's unanswered questions of, does he need to go into assisted living because of the potential dementia diagnosis? Do we need to sell the home and put him into a smaller home? There's just so many unanswered questions right now that I think it's very overwhelming. And, I don't know how to help my husband.
Yeah, the unknown is what's bugging your husband. He really doesn't know. Can Dad stay by himself or can't he? Will he be dangerous living alone or not? Oh, my, if he does something really foolish and hurts himself, I'm not sure I could live with myself because of my misjudgment. What I would suggest is that your hubby's next trip to his dad is a fact-finding mission. He gets an assessment of Dad's functioning. If Dad allows it.
Sorry.
If Dad allows
he
it.
went to this appointment, and they did not give him a definitive diagnosis, but they want to do blood work and check on him again. He took the initial tests, like, draw a clock, spell world backwards, those kinds of things, and he did pretty poorly on them. So there's that.
Well, there's that, but there's also the ability of his functioning, a day-to-day functioning. It may be that your hubby would have to stay there a couple days to get an up-close look at how Dad can maintain himself. And probably, given what you're describing, he may be getting pretty close to not being able to drive anymore. So
yeah, that's our fear, is if we have to take away the car because he's power of attorney, that's going to cause massive problems. But he's hesitant to go to a home, and my husband's he's frustrated because his dad he's afraid to take the keys away from his dad because he's afraid his dad's going to get mad. So it's kind of just a big mess. And
your husband's going to have to make a decision here, because even though Dad could get mad, if he's not capable of driving well at all, then you got to be concerned with whom he might hurt. That's big. That is big. And it's very common for elderly parents who are in some stage of dementia to be angry, very angry, having their quote-unquote independence to drive taken away from them. Very angry. But I think what's frustrating your husband is not so much that he has to deal with the bills. If that's all he had to do, he'd be fine. He's frustrated because he really doesn't know what to do. He doesn't yet know. What do we do? Again, get there for a couple, 3 days, size up the situation, make some decisions. If possible, have a neurological appointment there set up so that he goes for the neurological appointment, and the doctor may say, no, I don't think you should drive anymore, so that your hubby isn't the one who Dad is mad at. That's one. Two, It may be that it over and above Dad's will, if he's deteriorating, it just may be that move has to be made. When my mother-in-law came to live with us for 3 years, it got to a point where we had to force her into a nursing home. She didn't want to go, but she didn't know why she didn't want to go. She didn't even know where she was, but she just knew she didn't want to go there. And it was a force. It had to happen. So
how do you force it?
Well, he's power of attorney. That has some leverage. Also, probably he needs maybe to get some good legal guidance on whether he can become a guardian. If he becomes a guardian, and he could probably make a case for that, then he makes those decisions.
Oh, okay.
He's facing the standard of an elderly parent who is moving into dementia further, and there's going to come a point where he can no longer be left alone or independent because the risk is too high. But then to make that decision, he knows he's going to get hostility. He's going to get resistance. Right. I don't know any way around that. Some people, believe it or not, are agreeable. They'll say, yeah, I need to go somewhere. I'm scared to live alone. I don't want to live alone. I have enough insight left that I realize I can't do this, and this. So but I think that may be a minority of folks. So at this point, talk with your husband about how exactly to take the next step in ascertaining how much longer, if at all, his dad can live on his own.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. That makes complete sense.
That's always that is so tough. That is just so tough. And I've seen families break up over this. Now, obviously, there are no involved siblings. He's the one doing it all. But I've seen them break up where one says, there's no way I'm going to allow anybody to take Mom from the house. She'll be miserable, she'll be unhappy, and she'll be dead within 4 months. That can't be. And then the other sibling says, Mom is going to die if we leave her in the house. She doesn't even know what she's doing 3/4 of the time. That's not unusual. All right. Good luck there, my dear, with your husband.
Thank you
Bless his heart for doing it. By the way, one other thing. I don't know if you would consider this. Can he come and live with you?
We are jam-packed in our little house with 8 people.
Well, we had not a big house. When we got our mother-in-law there, my mother-in-law there, the 3 boys slept in the closet on the floor.
We would love for him to move up here, but he doesn't want to leave where he's at because they've lived there for 40 years. But we're working on convincing.
At some point he may have to, at least as you size it up. 877-57 equal. This is Dr. Ray. Program The Doctor is in. Very good to have you with me. We got some lines open now because some people dropped and some people I talked to. You call in. I think we can take care of it.
Looking for a more peaceful family by Christmas? Join Dr. Greg and Lisa Popchak for a free live webinar, Have a More Peaceful Family by Christmas. It's Thursday, November 13th from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Discover practical ways to reclaim Advent with purpose, prayer, and joy. Don't let Advent slip by in stress and distraction. Join the Popchaks and turn this season into a sacred success story. Register now at AveMariaRadio.net and make this Advent your most intentional yet.
Christ is the answer with Father John Riccardo.
Are you passionate about Jesus? Are you zealous for Jesus? Are you fervent for Jesus? Are we fervent for the gospel? Are we passionate about helping this world come to know him? Is that true? It's not true for most people in the church. Is Jesus my best friend? Is he your best friend? I'm looking around the church. There's a set of guys in here who have great man caves. As I was praying this morning, I felt like the Lord said, hey, when are you going to come to my man cave? Like, you guys think a flat screen TV is really cool. Well, you should see what I got to offer. Because I and I alone, he says, can really give you what it is you're longing for. Whoever it is we're rooting for right now, they're going to lose eventually. Or whatever it is that's occupying our time, one day we're going to realize it really wasn't that important. Why aren't we hanging out with the one who alone can show us what life is really all about? When was the last time you hung out in the Lord's man cave?
Strained or broken relationships are a given in most of our lives. Friends fall away, siblings drift apart, children sever ties with their parents, and despite our best efforts, these painful fissures are difficult to mend. Hi, I'm Dr. Ray. If you want to learn how to communicate better with the difficult people in your life and be a more easygoing, more forgiving person, check out my book, How to Get Along with Almost Everybody. Check it out. And all my other books on the store page at AveMariaRadio.net. That's AveMariaRadio.net. Big screen radio, high definition radio. Pulchritudinous, mellifluous, pugnacious, truculent. That's about as high definition as you're going to get. Let's talk to Marie from The Quest. Oh, family event first? All right, just told by my producer man, do the family event first. Okay, well, it's kind of neat. We have an EWTN radio partner, KVSG 107.1 FM. They serve Twisp, Washington. 10 years. 10 years on the network. Congratulations to Father Pedro Batista Barraza and all the team there at St. Genevieve Catholic Parish. From all of us here at EWTN, congratulations for 10 years. Now to Maria from Atlanta, Georgia, The Quest. Hey, Maria.
Hi, Dr. Ray. Thank you for taking my call.
Surely.
I have an 86-year-old mother who is suffering with dementia, and at the end of August, we moved her into an assisted living. That's been a little bit of a transition for her, and she very much doesn't like being told when to get up in the morning, so she has begun to hit and kick the staff when they attempt to get her out of bed. The director of the facility has spoken to her, and she's asked us to speak to her about her behavior, but I'm not confident that she remembers that she does that behavior. So I was just wondering if you had any suggestions or strategies on what we could do here to temper this behavior so she does not get kicked out of her living environment.
You say assisted living. Does she have her own apartment?
She does have her own apartment, but they are very much on a schedule. So they do get her up at the same time every day so they can eat together. It's more of a personal home situation as opposed to a standard assisted living.
Okay, so it's assisted living. They got a lot of people looking in on her all the time.
Correct, but it's very small, and so they have a schedule that they adhere to, and she does not like the wake up time whatsoever.
If they allowed her to sleep longer, would she eventually get up?
Well, let me put it to you this way. When she was living independently, she would get up at 2 or 2:30 in the afternoon.
Ooh. After going to bed when?
Can't tell you that for sure, but probably, around the midnight hour.
Wow.
And she doesn't do that in this environment because her meals are earlier. Everything is so much earlier that I do think she's going to bed around 8 o'clock. So I think she's had plenty of time to sleep. I just think it's, as your previous caller talked about, the whole resistance, of being told to do something she doesn't want to do. And
which she probably doesn't understand fully to do. Mm-hmm. That would be my reservation, Maria, about your call. If, in fact, and again, I can't know what level of dementia she is now moving through, but if, in fact, she's confused a lot of the time, and these folks come in and they try to arouse her, and she has no idea. She's not thinking, gee, it's 8 o'clock. I better get up or I'm going to miss breakfast. If that's not the case, if her understanding is, what are you people doing to me? Get out of here. Leave me alone. Which it probably is, isn't it?
It's hard for me to know for sure because she does have moments of being very cognitively on the ball. You know what I'm saying? I guess at the very least, I know she knows that hitting people is not how, you know what I'm saying, that's not an acceptable way to respond to anything. And I think that's the disturbing part to me. Not that she wants to resist, but she's being physical.
She may know that, Maria, in her more clear moments. But if, in fact, she's in at least moderate dementia, then impulse control is way down. Mm-hmm. And a woman who has never hit anybody before in her life is now starting to hit people. You can assume this is a function of the dementia and the lack of governor, the lack of socially appropriate governor. So to think that they can reason with her and tell her not to do this. Now, I don't know your particular situation, but in a general sense, I wouldn't think that would work at all.
And it's not, yeah.
Of course not. And it may be that they're going to have to figure out how to restructure this. It may be that she's moving towards a much more supervised type of placement as opposed to this. Again, I can't know because I'm not there. But if they're saying you talk to her and you tell her how inappropriate this is, if your mom were clear, if this is the mom of 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you could talk to her. And she'd say, right. I can't believe I did that. I was just so mad. That was crazy. I better apologize to him. She's not saying any of that, is she?
No.
Right, exactly. Because, one, all she knows is just lash out. This is just something that these people are imposing upon me that I don't like. And she can't really even describe why she doesn't like it. She just knows she's bothered by these people coming in here and trying to rouse her, and she's sleeping. Leave me alone. Now, that said, I think you got to go with the people in the home. Say, what are we going to do about this? First of all, watch out because she's going to swing at you. So stand back. All right? Make sure you're out of arm's reach. Decide how you want to structure this. That if, in fact, you think it's appropriate that she misses breakfast and she eats at lunch, for the meantime, that could be a change in the schedule that'll work. If they think, no, we have to be on a schedule, this is the way we got to do it, well, then they're probably going to get swung at. So I guess my bottom line is reason is not likely to work here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. So they might have to think about, how do we want to restructure this? What kind of flexibility do we have in the schedule? Is she appropriate for assisted living? Is she getting combative? Now, sometimes what they do is they have the psychiatrist see the resident, and then they give them some calming medication. That's just something you have to discuss with the psychiatrist. So, yeah, I think that's the position you're in. I think I would talk to them and say, I don't think she really recognizes what she's doing, because this is clearly not my mother. My mother has never even squashed a bug in her life. And the fact that she's swinging is clearly a mark of her progressive dementia.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All righty. They've dealt with combative. They've dealt with combative residents before, Maria. They have. And so you ask them, what do you do when you have a combative resident? What have you done?
Yeah, I just also hate to throw more medicine at her, but I mean, I understand what you're saying, how it relates to this situation. So, okay.
All right,
we'll have that conversation. Thank you so much.
All righty. Thank you, dear. Taking a break, Dr. Ray.
Hello, I'm Marianne Kuharski with Pro-Life Across America. Did you know that a billboard can save a baby's life? When our billboards and radio ads are running, we receive hundreds of calls from those seeking pregnancy information and support. Every caller is connected to a local center offering free ultrasound and confidential counseling. Won't you join us in this life-saving effort? Donate today and help us do more. No gift is too small. That's prolifeacrossamerica.org.
Hello, Steve Ray here from Footprints of God Pilgrimages. The land of our Lord and Our Lady is calling us. We're heading back to the Holy Land over Christmas break this year. We have the best, most reliable guides and services awaiting us. The holy sites are open, and the local Christians are anxious to see us. Galilee, Jerusalem, Nazareth, Bethlehem. No crowds, no lines. Hope you can join us.
Find the Ave Maria Radio travel tab at AveMariaRadio.net.
The wisdom of Mother Angelica.
I told him about the woman who came to me and said her two children hadn't spoken to each other for 2 years. Their grandma died, and she was very wealthy. She left half to each one. She said they're arguing over a commode. She said it's inlaid. Can you imagine being in hell and somebody saying to you, "What are you here for?"
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
Do you own popular index mutual funds or ETFs? If so, you're automatically own shares of companies that conflict with your moral beliefs. Ave Maria mutual funds are managed to conform to pro-life and pro-family values. Long-term investors can invest in the no-load Ave Maria mutual funds. The experienced professional portfolio managers make decisions based on investment fundamentals and pro-life values. You can learn more about Ave Maria mutual funds today at 866 Ave Maria or visit AveMariaFunds.com.
On EWTN Radio, The Spirit World airs on Saturday morning, 11 Eastern, Sunday night, 7 Eastern. Offers a Catholic perspective on issues about angels, demons, and how the spiritual and physical worlds interact. Your hosts, warm, lovable Debbie Georgiani and Adam Bly. Great program. Let's go to Julie. 8-year-old grandson, been diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, is on medication, but she's seen a change in him. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Dr. Ray.
What's he doing?
I see him about maybe 2-3 times a month because they do live out of town. But I've noticed lately that he just walks around like a zombie. When it's dinner time, everybody's eating at the table. He'll just look at the food and just leave the table and just retreat somewhere else. And his mother, my daughter, goes and tries to comfort him and talk him into eating a few bites. But he's so very skinny, and he's very he notices that he's so skinny, and he keeps saying that he's too skinny. But I know he's concerned about himself being that thin. But he's doing okay in school. He goes to a Catholic school. But I'm just worried that his medication might be too high.
Why isn't Mom similarly worried?
Well, I guess he was having overactive problems, and I guess he would get into fights with his other 3 siblings, and she just thinks that, okay, this medication's going to calm him down and everybody will be happier.
Well, I can tell you this, Julie. Not an unusual side effect of certain stimulant medications is lack of appetite and, believe it or not, some lethargy. So I would go and look up on the internet the medication that he's on, seeing potential side effects, show that to your daughter, and say, maybe we should reconsider. I mean, if you have a good relationship with her. If you don't, she's going to get upset. Maybe.
Yeah, well, I've done that. Yeah, I've done that. I've looked at the internet. And I even asked her what medication he's on, and she says, well, I'm not going to tell you that because, you'll just look into it further and say what's wrong with it.
So she doesn't agree. She doesn't agree.
She knows
Well, you're
all.
stuck, Julie. You're stuck. And you know what saddens me about this? I get a ton of kids in my office who have been diagnosed ADHD. And typically, it's the more difficult kid of the family. But much of the time, there are things the parents can do regarding more consistent discipline, more structured discipline, better follow-through, et cetera, that will dampen the problem. You may still have an active kid. You may still have a distractible kid. You may still have an impulsive kid. But you don't necessarily have a behavior problem kid. ADHD is not a behavior problem per se. It is a extreme manifestation of certain types of traits or habits or behaviors. And as a result, it makes it more likely there'll be behavior problems if the parents are not handling it well. And I see that all the time. So I get frustrated. I get frustrated when kids are thrown on medication because they're a pain in the bucket for the parent or the school.
Yep.
So, you just by you saying yep, you probably see that in their home. You think like, wait a minute, they're not handling him well. Okay, well, she doesn't want to hear it, and that's a sad thing. But hopefully,
none of her kids are disciplined. They're terrible. They're like they run amok, and neither her or her husband will discipline them. And she thinks giving them a timeout in the bedroom with their iPad is going to be disciplined for a half hour. I mean, I've even given her your book, and I'm sure she hasn't read it because she just refuses to discipline them.
Oh, I see this so much, which is when parents don't do what they need to do, we point to the kid and go, what's wrong with him? My gosh, he's got to have some letters. That's the problem here. Oh, gosh.
Yep.
So prevalent. Well, Julie, you tried. You really tried, and I certainly hope that your daughter gets to the point where she says, okay, we need to tell the doctor what's going on here because he's just showing some very sad side effects. God bless you, dear. Thanks for the call. Mike, you call me back. All righty. I know you just got a little bit of an education here on the meds for ADHD. Just a small one, but call me back because we'll see what we can do to help you out. My thanks to, as I understand it, Eric Dumont, who is the call screamer. I was wrong at the beginning. And Dan McGraw, who is manning. I can say that, can't I? Personing. Oh, you're running the board now. So Dan left? I can't keep up with you guys over there in Ann Arbor. By the way, again, go to drray.com, and if you'd like to, sign up. It'll take you over to a link from Catholic University of America in D.C., and sign up for our audience, the Living Right with Dr. Ray audience, November 11th and 12th, 2 shows in each evening. Very much like to have you in the audience. The audience, as I've said over and over and over, makes the show. Walk with God.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.